freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for this week's Wells Fargo Championship. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick.
What's going on, guys? Bittersweet Sunday for you, boy. Some validation, which was unfortunate, but other than that, just a very fun tournament leading into a very fun week upcoming.
What happened, Patrick? I didn't watch. Xander had a one-shot lead. I'm sure he won.
For that one commenter out there, I will not spoil this week. We'll leave it at that for now.
Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
What a week, boys. This was awesome. This was awesome. So that's all I have to say. I have one other thing to say. I know neither of you are mothers, but very happy Mother's Day to both of your moms and all the moms out there.
Yes, on behalf of my mother, I will say thank you, Greg. Yes, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and to all the golf fans out there, because we got a good one on Sunday. Let's lay the foundation here. Xander Schauffele entered the day with a one-shot lead, and they were already, Patrick, turning this into match play. They were already kind of lapping the field a little bit. Odds makers had this as a two-horse race, so we were in hashtag match play situation from essentially hole number one.
No one out in front really got off to that dream start. Sung J M three-putted the first. Sepp Straka made a mess early. Jason Day was kind of doing some stuff, chipping in from everywhere, but outside of that, he wasn't doing a whole lot either. So it really set the stage for a match play situation. And let me tell you, Rory McIlroy, the drive on number one, taking it over the trees, he was 45 yards closer than Xander Schauffele going into that green, has a full gap wedge, hits it to 4 feet, knocks it in. And you were like, all right, 17 to go. Game on. All squared. Even. Hopefully we get a good kind of title fight here, because every time we see like a duel like forming, they brought it up like the Masters where they're running 4 wide at Augusta National. Golf fans are licking their chops. It's going to be amazing. It's going to come down to the very end. I can't remember the last time a golf tournament's like really come down to the very, very end in like a duel situation. And early on, it really felt like we were going to get something like that.
We talked about this on HQ, Greg. We had a hit. They were on like the 4th hole. It was at 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. So this is the gap that Rory and Xander had there on number one, about a 50-yard difference. Rory makes birdie immediately out of the gate, and that one-shot lead is now disintegrated.
It's not that Rory is 50 yards longer than Xander, but this is one of the few courses where that 5 mile an hour difference in ball speed, which it may even be less, but about a 5 mile an hour difference in ball speed makes a 50-yard difference because of the dog legs and the line that Rory's able to take with confidence versus the line that Xander has to take. It just creates so much wider of a gap. I mean, even if you go to like Torrey Pines, for instance, the dog legs are a lot later in the hole. And so everybody's kind of hitting it straight out there. And you don't get this extremely wide dispersion between players of comparable ball speeds like Xander and Rory. But all of a sudden, Rory can take a completely different line and cut off so much of the corner. And that's what separates him. Because I don't know if there's anybody else in the field that's doing what he's doing off the tee there. There's very few players in the game that can do that. So, it led me to think, well, if Rory's playing like this, if Scottie Scheffler were here, could Scottie Scheffler have kept up? And I don't know the answer to that. We'll obviously never know, but it was that kind of performance out of Rory.
It wasn't completely flawless. He made a bogey on 4, and then Xander hit what was the shot of the day, Patrick. I mean, the eagle that he makes on 7 was unbelievable. And because of the way that the scores come through here, Xander's 1 under through 7, Rory's even through 7. So that's a 2-shot lead. You're feeling great right now as a Xander backer.
I thought it was our time as a lifelong Xander stan, having never said anything negative about the man.
Right.
I was like, this is our moment. Are you kidding me? He knocked in a 12-footer when he had to. That doesn't happen on any given Sunday. And so it felt like, to steal a quote from Rory McIlroy, felt like the stars were aligning for us today at Quail Hollow, especially after on number 6, that 3-putt. That moment, I was like, oh boy, we're in trouble here. But he knocks in that eagle, and then Rory McIlroy kind of just happened.
Yeah. Rory parred 7. So it was
for the third day in a row.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. But then Rory happened. So that is birdie on 8, birdie on 9, eagle on 10. And that was not even, Greg, his only birdie eagle stretch of the that was just his first of 2 birdie eagle stretches. But even by this one, tides had shifted. It felt like it was obviously headed towards Rory McIlroy's favor.
Yes, if you're Xander Schauffele, you're kind of like, okay, I went eagle, par, birdie. He went par, birdie, eagle, and all of a sudden, this thing, I'm losing, and it feels like I'm done. There aren't that many more opportunities that. This was really tough, and I don't think that it was on Xander. But I think the way Patrick frames that is perfect. Rory just happened. He turned on that extra gear. All of a sudden, putts started to fall. All of a sudden, he started to knock some irons in there tight. These were things that it felt like were brewing all week long. And all of a sudden, they started to happen, and they happened all at once on Sunday. That's a hard thing to run from. Patrick, you and I talked about it this morning on HQ, that this was, Xander's kind of working a little bit harder than Rory at this point and is at a disadvantage off the tee. But Xander he executed his game plan, right? He's playing really smart golf, has a 3-putt at 6, which is disappointing, answers, and then some with the eagle at 7. But there's just not a lot. There's just not enough in the tank. You just can't keep up with Rory. I'm not sure that anybody could. So I don't think this is a disappointment for Xander. But if you are looking back at a disappointment, you have to consider the second place finishes. Since his last win, this is now 4 second place finishes. You're talking about Wyndham Clark here last year, who got to 19 under, set a tournament record. Scottie Scheffler at the Players, in absolutely unbelievable performance, with a stiff neck, right? You're talking about who else was it? There's Victor Hovland at the Tour Championship, who was playing with his hair on fire. And it just seems like, and there's a staggered start in that event. You got to feel, I know Xander's made his mistakes, which Patrick has never pointed out, but he's made his mistakes, and still he has these tournaments where he plays great. He's the best player in the field except for one guy. And it just seems to happen to him more often than anyone else.
I want to dive into this Xander Schauffele thing, and we're going to get to the second hot stretch from Rory McIlroy. But first, we are going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
2 big boys getting ready to play. Big being the operative word here. And here they come.
And we're back. Greg is right, Patrick, that sometimes you just get steamrolled, and sometimes you just lose, and there's no defense that you can play. But how concerned are we about Xander here on 11, where he hits kind of a pretty weak gap wedge? 12 makes par. 12, he misses the green, makes bogey. 13, misses the green, flies the green, makes another bogey, and the world is spinning fast at this moment because Rory is now going from 1 or 2 behind back to the 7th hole to what must feel like a million shots ahead.
Yeah, look, Rory McIlroy won this golf tournament, but where you could say Xander Schauffele lost it was 11 and 12. You have Rory McIlroy who misses the green on 11 after hitting it in the fairway bunker. He's in the middle of the fairway, hits a great drive, has a wedge in his hand, hits it to 45 feet. Okay, that's fine. You walk off, you're still only 1 back. The next hole, you have Rory McIlroy in the rough, misses the green. You're in the middle of the fairway. You have an opportunity to apply some pressure. I understand it's a difficult pin right above that slope. And you miss the green and you lose ground. You can't lose ground during that 2-hole stretch right there. And then Rory McIlroy steps on his throat on 13 with his tee shot, hits it to 13 feet. Another 2-shot swing, ball game. And I think, Greg, your point about how Xander's been in this position so much, he's such a good golfer. I give him crap because it comes from a place of love, sort of. He's such a good golfer. He's so consistent. He's so well-rounded. He doesn't really have a flaw in his game. He does everything right. And that's going to get him in this position a lot. That's going to get him some wins, even at some points as well. But tournaments like this, against a player like Rory McIlroy, you have to go out there and hit golf shots to win the golf tournament. And I just haven't seen that from Xander Schauffele in a very long time.
You know that, like, I think it's a Simpsons meme that's like, stop, he's already dead. That's what Rory did here on 13, 14, 15. So this is the second birdie eagle stretch, Greg. And this was, it just reminded me a lot of the conversation that sometimes we have, which is whose best is the best when everybody's playing. If we could just take everybody's A+ stuff and put them on a golf course, who wins? And that felt like we were getting truly peak Rory McIlroy stuff.
Right. And you look, I was thinking about this too. He's at 19 under through 71 holes, which is pretty close to the tournament record. And I can't help but think he left 6 shots out there through the week. You know, there were reasonable birdie opportunities, like 7, 3 days in a row, a couple of 3 putts there. He doesn't get 14 every day. There were a couple of easy ones throughout the week that he quite easily could have had. And so that's where Rory jumps up into that mix. What he can do with the driver jumps him up in that mix. His short game, man, he's got some really good touch. He can hit some shots off of tight lies that are phenomenal. The bunker play, it's obviously highlighted by the hole out at 15, but his bunker play for the week is stellar. This is a complete player. Now, I don't know if it's, I don't even know how to get into the A+ game. Who wins? At that point, it depends on at Quail Hollow. I think Rory would beat I think he would beat Scheffler. I'm not sure at Augusta National he would beat Scheffler. I'm not sure there's many other courses where he would.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's so hypothetical. It's just such a hard conversation because the beauty of it is, well, who's the best when they don't have their best? And that's really throughout the course of 72. Rory is walking around. I made a note on Friday night after watching him. I was preparing for a show. I said, Rory's walking around like he owns the place. You know, I knew you could just, it's very rare that you look, you know, it's going to happen. It's not a very common thing, but I knew Rory was going to win. I mean, I'd like to say at the beginning of the week, and there's some evidence to support that. But what I really watched, I knew on Friday night when Rory finished that round, this was going to explode at some point, and he was going to win. So you don't see that very often, but he gets through the moments, the mistakes on Thursdays, the failure to take advantage of some easy opportunities on Friday, maybe Saturday as well. And all of a sudden, couple go his way. And because he's playing this golf course at such a different level than everybody else, he just it's an explosion, and he runs away.
The tournament was essentially over on, 15 was just the exclamation point where Rory holes out for eagle from the bunker. He plays the first 2 legs of the Green Mile at even par. Patrick, he's racking up the strokes gained. I have drafts. I'm ready to fire off all of these great little nuggets about Rory McIlroy, about how he's gained 21 shots to the field, the most, since 2020, how this is the 4th best round of his career, 1,158 rounds or whatever. This is the 4th best. Then he hits it into the water behind 18, makes a double, and ruins all my
ruins it. I had one fired up too, assuming he was going to make par and Xander was going to make bogey, and he would have beaten Xander by 10 strokes over the last 11 holes.
Wow.
If that happened. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
I think it would have done some numbies, to tell you the truth. Because I mean, people love to dunk on Xander online. Not me, but people, the haters and losers, of which there are many of. It was I mean, it was just ridiculous. His best is just so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch.
It really is. This is PGA Tour win number 26 for Rory McIlroy, and yes, he did just get 25 at the Desert Classic, and now there's going to be a lot of conversation about next week. We'll get to that in just a second, but quick little hat tip to Benny On here. Benny On. So Rory McIlroy 17 under with a double on 18. Xander 12 under, solo second. Benny On 9 under, solo third. Benny On, Greg, beat everybody else not named Rory and Xander Schauffele by 3 full shots.
He deserves so much more than a hat tip. It's just where his position in the FedEx Cup is ridiculous. He's got to still be top 10.
He's 6th.
Really?
In the FedEx Cup without a win.
Xander Schauffele-esque.
Yes. I mean, it's just every week. He is a driving machine. His ball striking is so good. And I would have thought at the beginning of the week, if Ben On led the field in strokes game putting, he would win.
Me too.
He led the field in strokes game putting and lost by 8.
Well, I mean, he caught this 5 wins is a bad stat. So there's 69 players in the field. He beats 66 of them by at least 3 shots, and he loses by 8.
Right. Right.
Tough.
It's just unreal to think about that kind of separation.
Because that was actually Ben On played good enough to win.
Most weeks.
Yeah.
But he never sniffed a win.
Never had a chance to win.
Not for 1 second did Ben On have a chance to win this golf tournament.
And that's where
12 strokes.
He gained
just under.
Okay.
11.926
in a field of 69. I mean, 12, that's basically what Tiger gained when he won the 2019 Masters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and you got some guys ahead of you that are throwing off the average like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, so yeah, it's a great week for him. The unfortunate aspect is you don't know that. This is kind of like the Xander and Rory gets some of this too, with that backdoor top 5 or backdoor whatever, where, well, they can do it when it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that Ben wouldn't have done this otherwise, but it's different when you're going out and chasing a check rather than chasing a trophy. And he never really was chasing a trophy. But because of what he's done for the remainder of the year, it is extremely impressive and very deserving of that hat tip.
Patrick, I'm just kind of scrolling through the leaderboard here. Max Homa finished T8. He shot a final round 69. Taylor Pendrith back continues his pretty good stretch of golf. He had a T10. Justin Thomas faded to a T21. Colin Morikawa faded to a T16. Victor Hovland moved up the board, T24. Any other takeaways that you had from this final round or from this tournament in general? Obviously, as we have kind of one eye looking forward to next week.
Without looking, Rory McIlroy, number 1 strokes gained off the tee. Xander Schauffele, number 2. Can you name who was number 3?
Jaeger?
No.
He was black. He was way up there in distance.
I'm wondering why Patrick is asking. It's going to be like Jordan Spieth.
It is Jordan Spieth.
Yeah. I saw
who
the first couple of days.
Who was number 1 at Oak Hill last year?
Jordan Spieth.
Jordan Spieth.
Even hitting it into a porta potty.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. I think Spieth, Kyle tweeted out something about him saying his wrist was bugging him. I think that's a huge issue, that it's just so, it seems like super random that it just bothers him, which is a bummer. Hopefully he doesn't need like surgery after the season or anything like that. Don't know the severity of it. Colin backtracking with the irons. It's like, I'm not sure what we're going to get out of him really next week. And then who else was up there? Who was I going to talk about? Jason Day. Jason Day. The conversation around Jason Day's wardrobe right now. Speaking of haters and losers, there's a lot of people online who don't like what Jason Day is wearing. That's fine. But then there's those people who will take those posts and make TikToks and Instagram reels about them, saying how Jason Day's fits are going dummy and they're so cool. And if old man golf Twitter doesn't like them, that's the sign of them being super cool. So I've come to the point where not the initial wave of haters, but that second wave, those people suck. Go touch grass, go play in traffic, get off the TikTok.
Okay. So if I don't know if you needed this, Greg, but I had to look up what going dummy means.
Yeah, I have no clue still.
I found out this week.
So according to Urban Dictionary, which is the authority on these things, it goes hard, it goes crazy, it goes stupid, it goes cray cray.
Cray cray.
So all those things you got to look up on Urban Dictionary too. Is there a link there for that?
There are actually. Yeah. So it's a pretty good site. All things considered. But yeah, so that was a compliment when someone says it's going dummy.
Okay. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, very interesting. Jason Day was asked about it after, I think, Friday's round. Todd Lewis maybe asked him about it, and he was kind of sheepish, and then shared some nice things and was happy that it was different, which, hey, I give him credit for. It's so different than especially what Jason Day used to wear. Right? I think of 2015 Jason Day, it was as athletic wear as you could get, like as young and hip as you could get.
He is still young and hip. We are just not anymore, Greg.
Yeah, that could be.
So
dummy.
So thank you. So
He's gone dummy.
Jason Day is still dressing young and hip, but we are too old.
Yeah, all right. I'm fine with that.
I will say this on his shirt,
better, though.
Okay,
well,
on his shirt.
Yeah,
I saw him earlier in the week with the matching shorts. So it's a full set. That light. It's like a great beach attire, I think. Or if you're at like a beach club or you're in the Greek islands, right? Mykonos.
Next time I find myself in Mykonos or at the beach club, I'll be sure to pick up a Malbon match it top and bottom.
He said something
And go
Friday.
dummy.
He said something Friday. He was like, yeah, we got the, they're kind of like Tiger Woods way back in the day. Baggy pants, sometimes really baggy. Just hearing Jason Day say that, because he's so, look, when Jason Day gets interviewed, he is so into it. Like Jason Day is trying to hold back going in the weeds too much. Yeah. Which I love. I appreciate it beyond belief. It is one of my favorite interviews to listen to. You had to hear him talk about that. It's like he wanted to be correct. They're not baggy. They're really baggy.
He's the to bring this back to golf a little bit. The one thing that I do find interesting. So there was a time, maybe it was a year ago, maybe it was 2 years ago, where we would go to a major and it felt like there were 12 guys who could win. And it was like, okay, is it going to be Colin? Is it going to be Rory? Is it going to be JT or Speed? Like all these guys, right? You could rattle them off. There are some pretty good players whose games are not very good right now, Greg. Will Zalatoris went 70, 70, 74, 80 and finished T60, which includes losing another 3.5 strokes with the putter, losing 2 on the around the greens and 2 on approach, which is scary. We've been documenting the Victor Hovland struggles. We know about Jordan Spieth struggling. JT, Colin Morikawa feel like they're heading in the wrong direction. Sam Burns has been a non-factor in 2024. It does only feel like Patrick Cantlay doesn't even exist, does he? I don't know. And
oh yeah.
Like where are the 12 guys that could win? I think we have 3 guys who can win.
Yeah, you might stretch that to 5. It's really hard. This conversation's gotten a little bit harder because of Liv for me, and I don't know exactly how that translates. But it's very fair to say that Scottie, Brooks, and Rory are the 3 guys you're probably referring to.
They are, and I'll give you Rahm, and I'll give you. Give me a 5th.
Bryson? Wyndham's a good one. He didn't play well this week.
Didn't play well this week, but that's not a bad one. And
He
Bryson
belongs in there.
Put them both together. They're each a half. So we're up to 5.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah. 5 players. It's slim. It's very slim. Is there a Bob May that's coming out this week to get into the mix? I don't know.
His name is Denny McCarthy.
What if Blocky wins it?
I went through the Corebridge Financial 20, which, spoiler alerts, actually 21 because of Michael Block.
Yes.
And let me tell you, there are some names. They list their height, they list their weight, they do the whole thing. My favorite guy is his last name's Bowser. His headshot, it looks like he just went on like a 4-day bender and just rolled out of bed. And that's his headshot for the PGA Championship website, if you want to check it out.
And he could play some golf.
5'9", $175. So I don't know if he's got the club head speed to keep up with some of the guys, but I'm hoping he does.
I'm looking at him right now. Evan Bowser from South Florida, Naples guy. Wow. Okay. The other thing, what happened to Tony Finau? What happened to our guys?
I don't want to talk about it.
Like, I just can't believe how bad some of these guys are playing.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and it really feels like it does thin out the potential for the PGA. And again, like we saw it with Xander. I mean, are we discrediting Xander not to put him in that list of guys who can win the PGA?
Yeah, maybe.
I can't do that again.
Well, he highlights the issue, right? He's really good. So let's say Colin Morikawa is having a great week. Max Homa is having a great week at the PGA. And Scottie, Rory, or Brooks are on their game. Those guys just can't. They can't hang. They're not going to hang for 72 holes. So the only way that you get somebody other than those three, in my opinion, is, well, then let's say 5. It's probably Wyndham probably belongs in there, and
Ludwig too.
I was gonna say we forgot about Ludi.
All right, so I mean, yeah, we're getting pretty close to 10 guys.
Okay, well then there used to be 20 guys.
Right.
There used to be 3 times as many.
But like, how many guys can hang for 4 rounds? It's very small. It's very small, and somebody could make a run, but you're going to have Rory, Scottie, and Brooks not playing their best, and trying to make a comeback in order for somebody else to win. It just kind of feels very slim up top, in my opinion.
We're gonna transition this conversation to Valhalla and the PGA Championship, but we are going to recap the bets and the one and done. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
From the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, is there anyone stronger?
No.
Tougher?
No.
Hungrier?
Grapes was an interesting choice for someone who doesn't use fingers.
Knuckles, now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
And we're back. Is that the there was a Sonic movie
with Jim Carrey, I believe.
So this is now a sequel.
I think it's a series.
So then we're going to get Tails after this.
I hope so.
Tails,
love Tails.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, there was Sonic 1 and 2 with Jim Carrey.
Oh,
at least.
Now, but the original Sonic was delayed because when they released the first look at Sonic, the internet bullied them into making him look different, right?
When was Sonic released?
Like, this was years ago. Sonic.
The first one ever, or the movie one?
The movie one.
Oh, okay.
I really like the movies.
So
my kids love Sonic.
Your kids, you're Mr. Egghead. What's his name? Dr. Egghead?
Yeah. Yep. I was him for Halloween one year.
So
I'm gonna need a picture of that.
Yeah.
On May 2nd,
if I could dig some up.
On May 2nd, 2019, in response to criticism, they announced that Sonic would be redesigned, and they delayed its original release date from November of 2019 to February of 2020.
Oh, how about that? February of 2020 that came out? That is ominous timing.
Well, I think it might have had something to do with it.
Wild.
You release Sonic onto the world, and the world cannot handle it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe there was a Sonic boom.
Oh.
Greg. Behave yourself one time. That went dummy. That went dummy.
So now we're 2 Sonic movies in and a Nux movie in, and then I imagine we're gonna get a Tails movie, and then if that goes well, we're gonna get a Mr. Egghead movie, Dr. Egghead.
Yeah, although they're kind of all about him.
Yeah.
You really know your Sonic, Rick.
I love Sonic.
Okay.
He's so fast.
Noted.
Getting those rings, going dummy, getting those rings. I don't have the cool graphics because I'm producing, so Josh isn't here. So I'm just going to have to kind of read you what happened here. We did okay with the bets. All right. I had Tommy Fleetwood over Patrick Cantlay, Nick Dunlap top 40. Kyle had Siwoo Kim top 20. Patrick had Benyon over Jordan Spieth. But the shining star was Greg's outright on Rory McIlroy. Congratulations, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you. Makes this week a whole lot sweeter. The 2 that I missed, Will Zalatoris over Tony Finau. Will lost to Finau by 2 and shot 80 on Sunday.
Yeah.
That was devastating. Cam Davis was in like the top 10 on Friday night and didn't finish in the top 30. Even my other one, I was going to go Steven Yeager top 20. He finished T21. So all these guys kind of fell out of my spot for me, except for Rory. And that's the one that counts.
Now, Patrick, you had Hideki to win. I think that you should petition Josh.
No bet.
No contest. He didn't even tee off.
Yeah, and Kyle had him in a matchup also. So no bet.
and Kyle had him in his best bet top 20. I had Noren top 20. Greg had Cam Davis top 30. Patrick, do you remember what your best bet was, Patrick?
The X-Man, Xander Schauffele to win 10-1.
Yeah, which was so, listen, I understand you had the lead for 60 some odd holes, but I thought you just took the favorite. Why didn't you just take Rory?
No, the weeks without Scottie, I'm really struggling. Really struggling. Why
don't you do like a top 20 on those weeks or something?
I've gamed the system. I know how it works. I know how Josh is how he's doing it, and it's only winners in the best bets. That's the only way that you can get in the black, unless you're red hot like you, Greg. I'm once a month.
The system gamed you on this one.
Yeah, it was tough. I had a whole speech and everything about how this is why I don't get sent to tournaments, because I just know too much stuff and it's an inside job, this and that, and it goes all the way to the top. And unfortunately,
Wow.
I can't talk on it.
It's
a shame. Thank you, Xander. Thank you.
Now, there were some sizable movements in the one and done. Not particularly from Kyle, who had Tony Finau, and Tony finished T52. Not so much for Josh, who had Wyndham Clark at T47. Mark, our leader, got a little bit for Max Homa, T8. And Patrick, congratulations, 2.1.
Shut up.
$2.16 million.
I'm getting bullied here. This
is a 2-on-1 fast break.
Congratulations.
Oh, God. This is legitimately, I am Jason Terry. LeBron's coming down the paint, and he just got tossed the alley-oop.
Now, let me see here. Let me see. Who did Greg and I have? Scroll. Oh, Greg. Did you know you and I both had Rory McIlroy this week?
Is that so?
I had
forgotten all about that.
Well, that's fortunate.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So what did Rory win?
Let's see. What did Rory win? $3.6 million.
Okay. So that changes things a little bit.
Now,
what place does that put me in?
So let's see here. 7.1 plus 3.6. That gets you to about 10 points. That puts you in the lead, Greg.
Oh, okay. My rightful place.
Wow. All right. So Greg atop the leaderboard. I don't have the final numbers, but it's going to be like Greg at 10.5 ish. And then Mark's going to be at like 800,000. Josh and Patrick and myself are all going to be like low sevens. And then Kyle's going to be at 3 million.
Yeah. Kyle's going to get relegated at this rate.
Yeah. We're going to replace him with the big boy team or wine lover Johan.
Oh no. I don't know if I want to do that for our sake. Going with Rory this week, Rick, I don't know how easy it was for you, but it was a big, like my plan was to save Rory for Eastlake. And I thought about, I was real close to Wyndham. And I kind of last second just said, Rory.
Yeah.
Just fired it off.
I kind of just talked myself into it and said, because I was probably just going to play Rory this week or next week. And I said to myself, hey, idiot, why don't you play Rory this week where there's going to be no Scottie and the field is only 59 people and he's crushed it here, as opposed to you're going to have 150 guys. Scottie's going to be back and the first isn't even going to be as much.
Yeah. And you add the Rory pressure major scenario.
Right.
Yeah. That's partly the thinking with Eastlake. You got staggered start. You got to have a few guys. Rory dominates Eastlake and you might need it, but it's like, no, this was the right place. Which the amazing thing to me is being in first place. The two wins that have carried me to first are Scottie Scheffler at the Players and Rory McIlroy at Quail Hollow, which like you wouldn't. They're so chalky. It's not like I had Chris Kirk at the Century. It's just the chalk. So it's quite funny to me, and I know Rick and I had a little fun with it, but it's a little bit lucky when the best players win the best tournaments.
So my wife is in the Rick Run Good one and done that we do. And she had Rory this week, and she's actually crushing it. She's in 5th right now.
Wow.
She's scorching hot. She picked like Nick Taylor's win earlier this year.
Wow.
She's gone nuts, but she only watches like when her guys are in it. So I got a text that when Rory hit it into the water on 18, that was like, oh my God, of course. Like it just can't be like, it can't be. He's going to blow it. He's going to do this. And I'm like, first of all, he can hit it in the water like 3 more times. And second of all, welcome to sweating this stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is golf.
Never easy. Just never
That
easy.
is so funny.
And it was like the easiest win ever. So she's very, very spoiled in that way. Okay. PGA Championship. We are going to Valhalla 2014. Rory won it there. We've kind of already teased some of the storylines, gents, but we're injecting Brooks Koepka. We're injecting Jon Rahm. We are injecting Bryson DeChambeau, amongst others. This golf course is going to be long, Greg. It's going to be challenging. And the PGA Championship has been producing really great winners and really great events over the last half decade or so.
This is if the PGA Championship takes any, I guess it's kind of slated as the 4th best major. And part of the reason is there's not quite the theme. You don't have Augusta National. It's not the hardest golf tournament in the world, and it's not links golf. But what it is probably the best setup. Let's leave Augusta National out of it. It's just a pure setup. They put it on hard golf courses. They don't trick them out. They let you play a tough golf course with a tough setup, but it's fair. And it often produces the players who are playing the best end up contending and competing. It's true. It's pure. It's honest. And that's why it leads to such great finishes. And I think they also choose golf courses that are quite compelling. And while you don't necessarily circle the PGA Championship on your calendar as one of the best events of the year, it seems to leave the year being one of the best every year. And this one's shaping up to be the same story.
Compelling is a good word, Patrick, because I think there's a couple of things. You've got like history that can be made in the short term. Like if Scottie were to win, it'd be his third major. It wouldn't be, there's plenty of guys with 3 major championships, but in the way that he's doing it, at the rate that he's doing it, it would feel like we're in the midst of a pretty big moment. Obviously, if Rory were to get one and get to 5, that would be huge. If Brooks were to win, you'd have now 6 and you'd go back to back again at the PGA Championship. And all 3 of those guys are going to be like the 3 favorites to win this golf tournament. Okay. And then if you do get lightning in a bottle out of Jordan Spieth and you get a guy to be the 6th guy to ever finish the career slam, you have career-long history on the line. I mean, there is really a lot of outcomes that could happen that change the history books that are pretty likely in terms of how likely these things are, right? I mean, the 3 favorites are all like very historic figures.
Yeah. And then you could even throw Jon Rahm in there. And if he wins, he's three legs to the career Grand Slam, and he goes to the Open later this summer trying to cap it off.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean,
It's a great point.
4 or 5 of the favorites have real history on the line. It's Scottie Scheffler. We'll be talking about the Grand Slam leading up to Pinehurst, which is, of course, another great fit for him with Rory McIlroy. It's, is he going to be the guy from his era who ends his career with the most major championships? It's Brooks Koepka right now, who has a chance to tie Faudo, Seve, Phil, Like, that's an insane group of players, and he's still in his mid-30s. He still has another 30-ish majors until like really good chances to add on to it as well. And then you got Rahm, and so it's setting up to be awesome. I do have some Rory stats if you want some.
Sure.
So since 2019, he has 5 wins in his last start before a major championship start.
Since 2019. Okay.
3 of those are going to be at venues where he was a major champion prior, where he won a major championship. This week, right? Returning to Valhalla.
Mhm.
Last summer at Liverpool, he won the Scottish Open before that. And then he won the Wells Fargo in 21 as well before Kiowa. So
what's your takeaway there?
No takeaway. Maybe he peaks too early. I'm joking. But it's just he's had some good results. I mean, he finished T6 at Liverpool, finished T5 in the 22 U.S. Open. He won the Canadian Open before that, T49 at the PGA. No real takes, just information. Digest, take a nibble, do whatever you want.
Oh, I don't nibble on weeks like this. I don't sip. I drink out of fire hoses.
Full bites.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hear some Scottie stuff?
Yeah.
Because I believe that the career Grand Slam, but also like the Scottie Slam is in play, very much in play. And so the last person to accomplish something like that, Tiger Woods, widely regarded as the best golf that's ever been played. Tiger in 2000 into 2001. Now, I know we don't have strokes gained statistics, but I compared Tiger in 2000 to Scottie in 2024 with the statistics that were available then.
Mm-hmm.
And the similarities are striking. So if you want to hear some, I'm going to tell them to you whether you do or don't.
Well, we do. So that's okay.
All right. So scoring average, there's adjusted and actual. Tiger was about a shot better than Scottie is this year in adjusted. Scottie is about a shot better than Tiger in actual.
Okay.
Both first in both categories, obviously. Birdie average, 4.92 for Tiger, 5.38 for Scottie, both first. Bogey avoidance, 9.8 for Tiger, 8.26 for Scottie.
Lower is better in that stat.
Lower is better, both first. Driving distance, 298 flat for Tiger, 299.3 for Scottie. They're a yard apart. Now, Tiger was second and Scottie's 80th. So there's a big difference there in the ranking anyway. Driving accuracy, 71.2% for Tiger, 74.42% for Scottie.
I also just like, I don't remember Tiger. I just remember Tiger spraying it. Like,
yeah,
it's 70. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he didn't in 2000.
Yeah.
He did in 06, 07. Yeah, so that's wild. Greens of regulation, about a 0.5% difference. 75.15 for Tiger, 74.76 for Scottie. Scrambling, those are both first, obviously. Scrambling, 67.08 for Tiger, 69.81 for Scottie. He's 2% better. Tiger was third, Scottie's fifth. Now, this is also fascinating. Tiger played 20 events. Scottie's played 10. So it's half, makes for really easy math. 9 wins for Tiger, that's 45% wins. 4 wins for Scottie, that's 40%. Top 10s, 17 top 10s for Tiger, 85%. 9 top 10s for Scottie, 90%. Top 5s, 17 top 5s for Tiger. So all his top 10s for top 5s.
That's
85%. Scottie's got 7. 70%. So, I mean, they're like negligible. All of them are, it's a negligible difference.
So you're saying that the Scottie Slam is live, baby.
Yes,
Ooh.
it is way live.
What would be the coolest, like, what would be the coolest thing that could happen
This week?
Russell Henley.
No,
It's probably
it's
it's
Scottie
probably
winning.
Rory. I think it's Rory.
I think it's Scottie.
I think to the general golf fan, Rory winning a decade removed from his last at the place where he won his last would make for a bigger storyline. For a nut like me, Greg, I do agree that it is Scottie. But I think for general
never
golf
thought
fans,
well, if it's for general golf fans, it's probably Spieth.
Yes. I think for general golf, so it's weird because it's the most unlikely
Tiger.
one to happen. Well, but for general golf fans and history, Spieth winning would make the general people happy, and then having a guy finish the career Grand Slam would be nuts.
Yes.
But it's
sorry, Spieth wasn't even on my radar.
just pretty unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
The
But
other thing-
but Scottie,
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
ready to. So I'm just. I would love a Scottie Slam to have you. I'd love nothing more than to be covering the game when something like that happens. But this is like we're just a hair too early. I mean, everybody who wins the Masters is live for the Slam. Every horse that wins the Kentucky Derby is live for the Triple Crown. But when they win the second one, whatever that is, Belmont, Preakness, I don't know which one comes second.
Preakness.
Okay. That's when it gets real. Very real. And if Scottie were to win the PGA, it would go from me feeling one way to feeling it is very, very real.
yes. But what I'm saying is he's pretty much already won the PGA.
Well, then let's just move on to whatever.
We're on a Pinehurst, boys.
That's just if you're in the business that we do, we try to analyze what we have, right? We analyze data we have. We look at the situation. We look at what we've seen. We try to put it all together and come up with a realistic, like we're not picking winners with no reason behind them. If somebody wins randomly and you just throw their name out there, like there's no real credit for that. For instance, if you pick Grayson Murray, if you picked his name out of a hat at the Sony Open, like it's not a great pick unless there's some kind of backing you have for it. And all the backing that we're going to do this week, all the modeling that you're going to do this week, Rick, everything that you're going to look at is going to point to one guy. And that guy also happens to not have any of the Xander Schauffele issues. He doesn't seem to have the Rory McIlroy issues with majors. He doesn't seem to have the Jordan Spieth issues with, whatever you want to call those issues. He doesn't have any of that. And it also, I'm not sure that he cares that he does or doesn't. He's going to want to win badly. But he's not going to start reading the paper like before it happens. I don't think Scottie Scheffler will be overcome by the moment, which is like with the opportunity to do this. I think he has the ability more than anybody else to put his focus into this tournament this week. And so my case has been made here on Sunday. I'm going to stick with it all week. I don't think I'm going to find anything that sways me.
It's pretty compelling.
Wow.
I might have to. It is going to be tough to find a non-Scottie.
It's been fun without him for a couple weeks, but I think the fun's over.
Yes. Now, speaking of next week, we have lots of big stuff planned. We will be across CBS Sports HQ, Golf on CBS YouTube, CBS Sports Network. We will have this covered like you cannot even imagine. We will also have a setup on the driving range, which feels in play to me. They better have us off to the. I don't want to be that close. That's a little scary.
Are you talking about like Spieth snap hooking one on 18 there to you guys,
Or
someone
from the
actual
range
practice?
Drilling us in the heads.
No, right. So that's one of those where they do this they do this all the time at majors. Right. The Sirius XM setup will often be, I mean, it might be the same. I think it's like just a media booth.
It's probably the same.
You're looking into the players.
Okay.
You'll be fine. I mean, a couple wedge shots may come at you if somebody skulls one.
Okay. Well, I'll remember that Greg said I'll be fine if things go
Wear a helmet.
So come say hi to us if you can get over there. We'll be out there, and gents, we've got it covered from basically. So Monday is the DFS preview, which I believe is going to be both of you guys, correct?
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. I'll be
Breaking news.
I'll be headed down there. I'm traveling tomorrow. And then Tuesday, mega preview pod, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, recap episodes, but throughout all of Wednesday, throughout all of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's live in-play stuff. We'll be doing the CBS Sports Network kind of like podcast versions again. So should be good, boys.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun week. I'm excited for you guys to get out there. Bring your rain gear. Rick, bring that all tan rain gear for me. I'm going to need to see a picture of you in it. Come on.
If Rory wins the PGA, I will buy all tan rain gear, and that's all I'll ever wear ever again.
Okay. We have a deal.
I mean, just wearing it like once on the pod would be fair, Rick.
Okay, fine. I'll wear it once on the pod, and then I'll
Greg, come on.
No, that was good. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
Sam Burns named his son Bear Burns.
Spell it like Bear.
I believe so. Yeah. And
Bear
then
tough name.
a lot of questions in the chat about if Scottie is officially a father yet. I saw Bob Herrig of SI tweet out that the kid has been born.
Do you trust Bob?
I don't know Bob personally. I sat near him.
I do.
Do we trust that?
I'm
He's
very trusting of him. He's a legitimate journalist.
He's not a hot take machine. He's like
no. He's not making things up.
Yeah.
He's
good. He's legit.
He's legit. Okay. All right. Cool. So the baby's born. Congratulations. And I guess we'll hear about more later. Scottie's he's on the presser for I think Tuesday afternoon.
3:30.
Also named Scottie. I'm kidding. Really? I have no idea. I'm joking. Well, there's Scottie.
Do you have to?
No, you make it. So I also have the same name as my dad. So you make a decision on like the third. Like that's like, are we going down this route? Because it's like then the third is the fourth, is the fifth, is the sixth. So like you don't have to, but that's where a decision has to be made.
Trip.
Rick, if you're ever in this position, would you?
No. It's actually very inconvenient to have the same name. It's just like it causes so many headaches. It's like not.
Yeah, you got like Ricky.
Yeah.
Where do you go for? I mean, you could come up with like with Richard, you could come up with plenty of names. But what do you do with Scott? Yeah,
Scottie, and then it'd be like they'd call him Trey because he'd be the third. So it'd be like
Trip.
Yeah.
And then you go to Quad.
Yeah.
For the fourth.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to just call him the fourth.
Yeah. Just IV. Right? Go Roman style.
Yeah, there's something fun about that.
Yeah. All right. We're going to have a lot of fun next week, and we will continue the conversation then. For now, big thanks to me because I produced the show and I did all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there is Patrick McDonald, who you can find on Twitter at PMcDonaldCBS, Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.